Protect your IRA from economic uncertainties. Diversify with gold and silver. Secure your future today.
Noble Gold. Real assets. Real value.
Hi guys, I've got Colin with us again from Noble Gold, the CEO of Noble Gold. And it's so important right now that we take control of our destiny. And this is why Colin's here. Because it's so easy to say, I wish I'd done it last year.
Right.
You can go like saying that for the rest of your life, or you can act now. And Colin is the right man to talk to with regard to gold and silver, because having got 17 years experience, he can give you good advice. So good morning, Colin.
Hey, how are you? No, it's true. I think it's, since I've been in this business, I can't, if I had a nickel for every time someone said I should have bought last year, and that's always the story in the precious metals industry. And yet people it's the timing for everyone is different. They have to come to the realization that the American dream, the house, and that the financial advisor, and that you can trust all these things. You have to eventually wake up and realize that those things are not, it's not as simple as it once was, to have financial freedom, which is what everybody wants. And financial freedom, I mean, you just want to live the way you've always lived. You want to live that way in retirement. I'm not saying you're living on a yacht. I'm saying you want to be able to, in your retirement age, you want to be able to go on a vacation once in a while and pay for a car, all the normal things. You want to have a normal life. But to have a normal life today, it's different than it was 20, 30 years ago. I was talking to a friend about just in the 80s and 90s, $100,000 a year was a great income. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying that a person that's making $300,000, a family, could be living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. And it's because if you look at what things cost today, when you looked at someone making $100,000 in the 80s and 90s, you could buy a house for $100,000. So it's almost a 1-to-1, maybe a 1-to-2 ratio. Now a house could cost you $500,000 or $1 million or more, depending on where you live, and you're making the $300,000. And it doesn't even factor in the other things that have gone up exponentially. Insurance costs have skyrocketed. Home insurance, health insurance, every type of insurance pretty much have gone up, I would say 100-fold since the 80s. So it's everything has gone out of whack. So how do you protect yourself? And it's, you see silver today, $63, $62 in that range. And why is that happening? Why is it happening? And it's happening for a multitude of reasons, but part of it is people are waking up to this realization that you can't do it the way you used to do it, that there's certain things, certain assets that will perform much better in an environment like this than other assets. And so that's one of the reasons that gold and silver have done well. JP Morgan, if you look at the numbers, they've really gone in a different direction. They were the biggest short seller in the world until about 3 days ago. And they've gotten rid of all of their contracts. And now they are the largest private owner of silver ounces in the world. That's a big about face. And they took a bath on those shorts. But the idea that they've gone away from shorting silver to buying the physical, they just bought, I think, about 20 million ounces of silver. These numbers are astronomical. So for them to take a bath on their short position and then just add more shows that they're thinking long on the metal. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing, is you have to think long on these types of things. You have to think about, the smart money is thinking about what's going to happen in not just 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, but what could happen in 10 years. And, so I think some of the predictions that I'm seeing now are going to come to fruition. I think $200 to $300 silver is not out of this world. And I think people are waking up to that realization now that it can do that the metal can do that. And it'll have some bumps along the way. It'll have some sell-offs, but I think those kind of numbers are not out of bounds in today's environment, because people have to have silver. It's not a question of like, do we have to, maybe we can do another metal. There's no other metal at the price, even at $200 an ounce, that can do what silver can do.
And for the future, silver is very, very much a part of it.
Correct.
As we move forward. It's an integral part of so many different things that we need in the future.
Right.
That the price will go through the roof because of the fact that you can't just produce silver. You have to go and get it, and there is only a certain amount of it, but the value of it for what we need in the future is huge. And you and I both know when Bitcoin was $1 and $10 and $100 and $1,000. Today it's $92,000. And there's a time where you just go, I remember even myself when Bitcoin was 100 going, well, I missed the boat there. But I didn't.
Bitcoin at 90,000 and it's a digit. I mean, that silver is actually used in things. And it needs, recycling is minimal on silver, right? They say between 5 and 6% is getting recycled, which is a pretty small amount. So these are the things that people are talking about. I think, I was saying before we got on that I've like really analyzed why people say to me that they feel better after they buy gold and silver. And it's sort of like when somebody finally does the thing that's good for them and but it was hard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you mentor a lot of people, Charlie, and I'm sure you're like, it's so obvious, right? It's right there. You tell them it's right. Just do this one thing. But that one thing sometimes is hard, but they do the one thing and they wake up. And I think the one thing for a lot of people that I've found is, and they say it over and over, is I sleep better now that I know that I have gold and silver. It's because that's the easy thing in front of them that they know that they have to do to protect their family. And that's really what it comes down to today is you really do have to look out for yourself, because the financial game of money managers and what they're doing, they have no interest in your growth. They financial advisors today, it's just how much money can they get under management. The good old days, as much as people say it wasn't the good days, but the good old days is when you paid a stockbroker for a good tip. Those were the good days, right? That, like, you got, and you wouldn't go back to that stockbroker unless the tips were good, right? I mean, that's, but now it has nothing to do with that. They just get money under management and they get an AI to trade for you, and that's it. And so it's just like, do they have a nice smile and a nice suit and a nice handshake, and do they know somebody and they kissing babies? It's nothing to do with their financial acumen. And they're not going to recommend gold. Absolutely not. They're not going to recommend gold. I mean, they lose a portion of control. They lose fees. People have talked to me about, some of the big organizations, they do offer gold, but they do store. So they do storage and they say their fees are low. But then when you look at the storage, it's unbelievably expensive. I won't say the name of the company, but it's one of the biggest institutions, and they say they do physical gold, and they tell you, and you look at the numbers, you go, okay, it's a few percentage points, but then you look at the storage, and the storage is based on the value, and on 100,000, you're going to pay between $8,000 and $9,000 a year in storage. So it's the same fee that you're paying for other things. It's not cheaper. Whereas with us in the IRA, our fee, our IRA fee, our custodial, everything, it's flat regardless. If you do 10 million bucks in gold and silver, you're going to pay $275 per year. That's insured, segregated storage. You're going to get a picture of the metals when it arrives. That's your annual fee. And it's a tax write-off. That fee, that custodial fee is a tax write-off. So as much as these other companies say, oh, we can do kind of the same thing, they can do it. It's going to cost you 10 times more than the way that Noble Gold does it. And if it continues to go up, they're just going to make more. Whereas our custodial fee is flat. I negotiated a flat fee, and people are blown away by that. I mean, they can't even believe it. You're telling me if I put $1 million bucks that I'm going to pay $275 per year, and I'm like, yeah, that's the deal we've negotiated, because number one, people typically hold these for a while, right? They know when it's in there, it's going to be there for a while. Number two, we're doing a lot of volume. You know, we're just under $3 billion in sales. We do heavy volume, so I've negotiated these things. But that's the way that you build wealth. That kind of fee is so low, you can really make money, right? So it's the little nuance in the business that I think, like, when you step out and you kind of step in and you do your research, like, okay, I'm going to buy gold. What am I going to do? How am I going to store it? You know, these are all things you really have to factor into it. And, you know, like you were telling me you bought a lot of gold in 2019. You know, 2019, 20, 21, those are huge years for us. You know, I had people that bought gold for me at $1,400 an ounce. I have people that bought silver for me at $13. They've been paying $275 per year to store that metal, and some of them have quadrupled over those 4 years. So not only did they buy the right metal at the right time with the right company, but they're not getting hemorrhaged on, you know, these kind of fees. And you got to be careful, because with these other guys, if you go up 4 times, you could have been paying $20,000 a year in storage. Like, that's a lot of your profit, right? And we're going to be at $275 a year. So
there's 2 points I want to make here. Number one, if you're in the USA right now and you've got money in a 401k or an IRA, now is the time to move it into gold and silver. And Colin's team will guide you as to the right way to do it. The other thing is, if you're outside of the UK, and I'm speaking here to my Brazilian audience and my Asian audience and my Australian audience, there's nothing wrong with keeping your gold in Colin's storage, right? Because it's in a safe place. Where it is in the world is irrelevant, as long as you've got it somewhere safe that is outside of the banking system and secure. So it doesn't matter where you are. You want to speak to Noble Gold, and as I said, Colin's team are there waiting for you, and the link is down below.
Noble Gold. Real assets. Real value.